Thank you very much for joining this session. I'm super pleased to have with me today Lakshmi. Lakshmi is CISO at Intellect Design Arena. And actually, Lakshmi, do you mind sharing a few words about yourself? Because the best person that can share a few words about yourself is actually yourself. So here you go.
Absolutely, Matias. Thanks for arranging this conversation. I'm equally excited to have this conversation, chat with you. Right. Good evening, everyone around the world. So, as some of you may know me, I joined Intellect as a senior manager and then have now taken over the responsibility as a CISO. It's about the progressive experience that I have gained over a period of time, and thanks to the support from management, colleagues, and everybody. Without them, this is not possible, right? So that's a very brief about me. I have worked in different security domains all through my careers, and I've been fortunate enough to take on this kind of a role at this point in time.
Absolutely. You have a very impressive track record, Lakshmi. I actually checked it out, and you've touched on a lot of different things throughout your career. So I'm super excited to have this chat today. And maybe to start, I would like to talk a little bit about the security culture and how you can get everybody to rally around security, because as far as I understand, security is really, really important for Intellect. You're rallying all around security. You're trying to do the best you can in that area. But how did you get that far? How were you able to rally around security with everybody from top to bottom?
Absolutely. I think it's a very great question to start off with. Today, like how we see the rocket launches, right? So the role of a security officer in most organizations is very similar to the rocket launcher, to make sure that the satellite reaches the right orbit, and then from there on, it's able to take its own path, right? So the momentum, the thrust, that is more important for us to provide. The direction is more important for us to provide. Once you are able to pick up the momentum, once you are able to get the right coordinates, I think everything will be all set. And it's very important for any security program to be successful, right? The culture of the organization decides, even if you have the right kind of budget, you have the right set of tools, unless and until the adoptions, the acceptance in the organization is there, I think the security program will not be successful. So it's very important for us, all of us who are in the industry, to understand the pulse of the company, the organization, the culture, the expectation, and make sure that it's not something that is seen as an overhead. It is something being seen as an integrated part of their roles and responsibilities, right? So security is always about shared roles and responsibilities. It's not a single person's problem, a single person's role, right? So that is something that we are trying to promote across the organization. I have done various sessions, discussions, and forums within the company. Different stakeholders in the company talk about security more than the security team. So that is a plus for us, where the business leaders and different stakeholders in the organization understand the needs and importance of security, because they keep interacting with the customer. They keep seeing the different requirements that are coming from different markets. So they understand the need and requirement of security in today's context to do the business. So it's something like you can't live without it. So that's actually helping us to build a strong security culture within the organization, and thereby the adoption levels and the kind of response we get within the company is reasonably very good.
I really like your explanation, because you're touching on a couple of very important things. First of all, I like your analogy with the rocket. Yes, you actually want to make sure it reaches orbit and it flies, by itself. And all you need to do is a little bit of tweaking once in a while. But setting it up is very difficult, and you were successful in that. But I really like what you've just mentioned, is the fact that it has to add to the bottom line. You do not want to be a blocker. You do not want to be negative. Ultimately, security is there to support the business. And what I really like about your story is that you were able to let other people talk about security within the organization, which means that you are successful in your job, which means that you are able to tell a positive story about security that other people then carry forward, and it's actually going to spread like wildfire. So
absolutely.
Very nicely done. So can you tell a little bit more on how you get that positiveness around that? Because it is very hard, because security is always as the stopper, the blocker. How are you able to get the positiveness into the story?
No, the simple success story is if you show them there is a success behind getting security right, and there is obviously interest that gets developed in people's mind, especially if you are able to convince the senior stakeholders. I think today it's not a topic that we need to introduce to anybody in the organization. There are enough coverages on this subject in the media, and a lot of news, a lot of breaches. It's becoming an everyday story for a lot of people, right? So it doesn't require an introduction as such in the organization. So that's the first thing. I think in that way we are reasonably mature to understand why security is needed, to what extent we need to do. So we have a decent understanding about what is needed in the context of the organization, and a lot of people in the organization understand the way they can contribute, the way they can take security on their shoulders and ensure that the security success is integrated within the whatever delivery job that they are representing. So that's the approach that we have taken.